My fiancé announced, "You're just my retirement plan. I need a final fling with a bad boy before I marry you." A month before our wedding, I said, "Okay," canceled everything, and started gathering proof. Until someone knocked on my door with, I don't even know where to start with this. My head is still spinning from what happened 2 days ago. I keep thinking this has to be some kind of nightmare and I'm going to wake up. But here I am at 3 a.m. writing to strangers on the internet because I literally have nowhere else to turn. I've been with my fiancée Brielle for 3 years, engaged for 6 months. We met through mutual friends at a house party and hit it off immediately. She seemed perfect, funny, beautiful, ambitious. We moved in together after a year, got engaged last summer during a weekend trip to the mountains that I thought was the happiest moment of my life. God, I was such an idiot. We had our wedding planned for next month, September 15th at this beautiful venue outside the city. We'd put down $8,500 in deposits across all vendors, sent out 150 invitations, booked the photographer, the whole 9 yards. My mom had been helping with planning for months. She was so excited to finally have a daughter-in-law. Brielle's dress was hanging in our closet, still in the garment bag from her final fitting last week. I work as a supervisor at a logistics warehouse. It's not glamorous, but I make decent money, about $65K a year. And I actually like my job. I manage a good team, the work is steady, and it gives us a comfortable life. Brielle works as a dental assistant at this upscale practice downtown. She's always complaining about the patients and the hours, but the pay is good. We've been living in my grandmother's house that I inherited when she passed 2 years ago. It's a 1950s colonial in a decent neighborhood, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, nothing fancy but solid. The best part? It's completely paid off. When Grandma Rose died, she left it to me free and clear. No mortgage, no debt, just a roof over our heads and a real foundation to build our future on. I always felt so grateful for that gift, especially knowing how much money we were saving that we could put toward other things. I thought Brielle felt the same way, or so I thought. 2 days before I was supposed to make the final payment to our venue, Brielle sits me down with this serious look on her face. "Colt, we need to talk," she said, wringing her hands. "I've been thinking a lot about what my friends have been saying." I muted the TV. "What friends? What are they saying?" "Well, Ashley and Madison think I might be settling. They say you're too nice, too safe, that I should experience being with a real bad boy before I commit to marriage forever." I thought she was joking. "Babe, what are you talking about? We're getting married in 4 weeks." "I know, and that's why I need to figure this out now. There's this guy Rylan who hangs out at Whiskey River when we do girls' night. He's different than you. Motorcycle, tattoos, just dangerous, you know? I think I need to see what I'm missing before I settle down." "Settle down? With me?" I could feel my voice rising. "Are you asking for permission to cheat on me?" "It's not cheating if we're on a break. Just 2 weeks, Colt. 2 weeks to get it out of my system, and then I'll know for sure that you're the one." "Absolutely not. That's insane, Brielle. That's not how relationships work." That's when she exploded. "See? This is exactly what they mean. You're controlling. A real man would want me to be sure, would want me to be happy. You're being selfish." "I'm being selfish for not wanting my fiancé to go sleep with some random guy?" "It's not about sleeping with him. God, why do you always make everything about sex? This is about personal growth, about making sure I don't have any regrets." I just stared at her. "I can't believe you're serious right now." "Fine," she snapped, standing up. "I can see you're not going to be supportive of this. I'm going to stay at Mara's for a few days to think about what I really want." Then she stormed upstairs to our bedroom, saying she was going to pack some things and stay at her sister Mara's for a few days to think about what she really wants. Here's the thing that's eating at me, though. After our fight, I stayed downstairs trying to process what had just happened. I could hear her moving around upstairs, opening and closing drawers, probably packing her overnight bag. The whole house felt tense. About 20 minutes later, I was in the kitchen getting a glass of water when I heard her talking to someone upstairs. Her voice was carrying down the hallway from our bedroom, and she was speaking loud enough that I could hear her clearly. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but when you can hear someone in your own house, it's hard not to listen. That's when I heard her say it, clear as day. Yeah, the plan is working perfectly. I froze with the glass halfway to my mouth. The plan? What plan? I crept closer to the bottom of the stairs and could hear more of the conversation. She was definitely on the phone with someone. He's completely thrown off, just like we expected, she continued. And there was this cold satisfaction in her voice that I'd never heard before. Give me a few days and he'll be begging me to come back. I heard a woman's voice respond through the phone speaker. It sounded like her sister Mara, but I couldn't be sure. Are you sure he bought the whole bad boy thing? It seems risky. Trust me, Colt is exactly as naive as I thought. He has no idea what's coming. By the time this is over, everything will be in place exactly how we need it. 10 minutes later, she came downstairs with her bag and left without saying another word to me, slamming the door so hard the picture frames on the hallway table rattled. My coworker Jace thinks I should just call the whole thing off. But 3 years of my life, all the wedding deposits, I don't know. Is this normal pre-wedding jitters or something bigger? Has anyone dealt with something like this before? I'm lost. Update 1. First, let me address the wedding situation. I spent the day after Brielle left calling vendors and trying to figure out what I could cancel without losing too much money. The venue was the biggest hit, $6,000 down the drain because we were within the 30-day window. The photographer was understanding and only charged us a $500 cancellation fee. The caterer, well, let's just say I'm still negotiating that one. All told, I'm looking at about $8,500 in lost deposits. It hurts, but after reading your comments, I knew I had to take action. My mom called me crying when I told her what happened. She'd been so excited about the wedding, had already bought her dress and booked time off work. That girl never deserved you, she said through tears. I always felt like something was off about her, but I didn't want to say anything. Moms always know, don't they? So Brielle came back after 4 days. She shows up at my door at 7 p.m. on Thursday, mascara running down her face like she'd been crying the whole drive over. Colt, please, I'm so sorry. Can I come in? I stepped aside and let her in, but kept my distance. She sat on our couch like nothing had happened, dabbing at her eyes with tissues she'd apparently brought with her. The whole thing felt rehearsed. I came to my senses, she said through what I now know were completely fake tears. I realized what a horrible mistake I almost made. My friends, they got in my head, but I know now that you're the one I want to be with. You're my person, Colt. I love you so much. Brielle, you can't just walk out for 4 days talking about dating other guys and expect everything to go back to normal. I know. I was confused. But being away from you made me realize how much I need you, how much I love our life together, the house, our future, everything we've built. Please, can we work through this? I'll do anything. I'll never see those friends again. I'll delete Ryland's number. I'll do whatever it takes. The way she mentioned the house stuck out to me, but I pushed the thought away. I wanted to believe her. Part of me was relieved because canceling a wedding is expensive as hell, and honestly, despite everything, I did love her. So I said we could talk, but something felt off. Call it intuition or whatever, but I couldn't shake that phone call I overheard. The way she'd sounded so cold, so calculating. So while she was in the shower that night, I made a decision that probably saved my life. I looked through her purse. Receipts. Lots of them. Expensive dinners at places I'd never heard of. Chez Laurent. That fancy French place downtown that costs $200 per person. Hotel room charges from the Marriott downtown, $350 a night for 3 nights. A receipt from some boutique called Silk and Lace for lingerie that definitely wasn't for me, $400 for items I couldn't even pronounce. All from the past 4 days while she was supposedly at her sister's place, thinking about us, and being confused. When I confronted her about the receipts, she broke down crying again. But this time it was different. This time I was watching for the performance. Brielle, what are these? I held up the hotel receipt and the lingerie receipt. Her face went white, but only for a split second before the tears started again. I can explain. Can you? Because these are from the past 4 days while you were supposedly at Mara's place, thinking about us. Colt, please sit down. It's not what you think. It's not what I think? Hotel charges? Expensive dinners? Lingerie? What exactly should I be thinking here? That's when the story changed completely. The tears came harder now, but they felt different. More desperate. He took advantage of me, she sobbed, and I noticed how quickly she shifted into victim mode. Rylan, I was vulnerable and confused, and he used that against me. I went to see him just to talk, to get closure, but he manipulated me. I made a terrible mistake. I felt so guilty afterwards. That's why I came home. I realized how much I loved you. So you did sleep with him. It meant nothing. Nothing, Colt. I was confused and he manipulated me, and I regret it so much. Please, you have to forgive me. It was a mistake, and it'll never happen again. I was processing this bombshell, trying to figure out how to respond, when my phone rang. It was Jace from work. Thank God for that man. Apparently he'd been debating whether to call me, but after seeing my Reddit post, yeah, he found it. He felt like he had to tell me something. 3 weeks ago, a full week before Brielle's confession to me, Jace saw her at the mall. She was shopping for lingerie with her sister Mara, and they were laughing about something Jace described as the backup plan. He said it stuck with him because it seemed like a weird thing to be joking about. 3 weeks ago, before any of this drama started. I haven't said anything to Brielle about Jace's call yet. I told her I needed time to process everything, and she's back at Mara's place. But guys, I think I'm starting to see a pattern here, and it's not good. The wedding is officially postponed. I've called the vendors and I'm eating the deposits, but I can't go through with this until I figure out what's really going on. Update 2. I've been playing detective for the past week, and what I've found is making me sick to my stomach. I can barely eat, can barely sleep. Every time I look at Brielle now, I feel like I'm looking at a complete stranger. First, I want to thank everyone who's been following this disaster and giving advice. Special thanks to the people who suggested I start documenting everything and taking screenshots. You were absolutely right. And to the person who said to check her Google search history, you're a genius. I decided to play along with Brielle's story while I figured things out. I told her I was willing to work through this but needed to take things slow. She was so relieved and grateful, practically throwing herself at me with gratitude. I knew you'd understand, she kept saying. I knew you loved me enough to forgive me. The whole performance just made me more suspicious. She moved back in immediately, acting like the perfect girlfriend, making my favorite meals, being extra affectionate, talking about rebuilding our trust, and how this experience made her realize what she really wanted. It was nauseating to watch, knowing what I suspected, but I kept digging, and holy hell, what I found. The first thing that made my blood run cold happened when she left her phone charging and unlocked like an idiot. I recovered some deleted texts using a recovery app my tech-savvy cousin recommended. The conversations between her and Rylan went back 2 months, not just flirty stuff, actual planning, screenshots of our house from real estate websites, questions about how long you have to be married before you get property rights, and what counts as marital assets. There were messages about meeting times, about keeping their communication secret, about phase 2 of the plan. One message from Rylan said, "Are you sure about this? Seems like a lot of work for a house." And her response, "It's worth $180K free and clear, plus he makes good money. This is my retirement plan." My retirement plan. 3 years of my life, and I was her retirement plan. Then her sister Mara let something slip when I ran into her at the grocery store on Saturday morning. "Hey Colt," she called out, seeming genuinely happy to see me. "How are you doing? I'm so glad you and Brielle worked things out." "Yeah, we're taking it slow but trying to move forward." "That's good. She really loves you, you know." Mara was loading organic vegetables into her cart, acting totally normal. And honestly, she's been smart about this whole thing. It'll be so nice when the house becomes you guys' place after the wedding. She always said she was lucky to find someone with real assets. I felt my stomach drop to the floor. "What do you mean becomes ours? It's already our place." The color drained from Mara's face immediately. She realized what she'd said. "Oh, I just meant, you know, like legally after you're married. That's all I meant. Joint ownership and all that." "Right," I said slowly, watching her scramble. "Of course. I should get going. My ice cream is melting. See you soon, Colt. She practically ran away with her cart, leaving half her groceries in the produce section. But the thing that really sealed it, the thing that made me realize this was all premeditated, was what I found in her car when I was helping her get something out of it on Sunday. I was reaching into her back seat to grab her gym bag when I saw a manila folder wedged between the seats. Legal consultation notes, dated from last month. She'd actually met with a divorce lawyer, not a wedding planner, a divorce lawyer, asking about property rights in our state, specifically about inherited houses, and how long you need to be married before you can claim part of them in a divorce. The notes were in her handwriting. House inherited before marriage, separate property, duration of marriage needed for claim, emotional abuse claims, what evidence needed, controlling behavior examples. I took pictures of everything with my phone, my hands shaking so bad I could barely hold the camera steady. The woman I thought I loved has been playing the long game this entire time. The house, the security, probably the whole relationship. It's all been calculated. But I needed to be sure before I did anything permanent. So I set a little trap. Babe, I've been thinking, I said casually over dinner one night. Maybe after we get married we should sell the house and move somewhere smaller, save some money, start fresh somewhere new. She nearly choked on her wine. Sell the house? Why would you want to do that? Just thinking about our future. The house is pretty big for just 2 people, and we could probably get a good price for it. Use that money for a down payment somewhere else, maybe closer to your work. But Colt, this house has so much sentimental value. Your grandmother lived here her whole life. She would want you to keep it in the family. That was rich, considering she'd met my grandmother exactly twice and spent both visits on her phone. I don't know. I think Grandma would understand. She was always practical about money. No, absolutely not. We can't sell this house. It's our future home, where we'll raise our kids. You can't just throw away family history like that. Her reaction was intense. Way too intense for someone who'd never shown any interest in the house's sentimental value before. I'm done, Reddit. The wedding is canceled permanently, and I'm ending this relationship. I just need to figure out the cleanest way to do it. One more update coming after I have the conversation. Final update. It's over, and somehow the ending was even more twisted than I expected. I decided to confront Brielle with everything I'd found. I laid it all out. The texts with Rylan, the legal consultation, the property research, everything. Brielle, we need to talk. Sit down. What's wrong? You look serious. I pulled out printed copies of her deleted texts, the lawyer consultation notes, everything. I know everything. The texts with Rylan from 2 months ago. The legal consultation about property rights. The real reason you freaked out when I mentioned selling the house. For a split second, I saw panic in her eyes. Then she tried one more time. Colt, I don't know what you think you found, but stop. Just stop lying to me. I have everything right here, the screenshots of the house you sent him, your questions about marriage duration and property rights. Do you want to keep lying, or do you want to tell me the truth? That's when she dropped the act entirely. The tears stopped. The victim routine vanished. She actually looked annoyed. Fine. You want the truth? The truth is you were an easy mark, Colt. A nice guy with a paid-off house and a stable job who was too naive to see what was happening. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So none of it was real? 3 years of our relationship? Oh, it was real enough. You're not a bad guy. But you were never the end game. You were security. A safe bet with real assets that I could access through marriage. And the whole bad boy thing? She shrugged like it was obvious. Insurance policy. If I changed my mind about going through with marrying you, I'd need evidence that you were controlling and possessive. Easier to get a better divorce settlement if I could prove emotional abuse. Jesus Christ, Brielle. You planned this whole thing. I researched you after we met at Jake's party, found out about the inheritance, saw how trusting you were. Your niceness made you perfect for this. I knew you'd never suspect anything because you're too good-hearted to think anyone could be that manipulative. I felt like I was talking to a complete stranger. But here's the twist I never saw coming. As I'm processing this revelation, someone knocks on my door. It's Rylan, the bad boy she'd been planning to use as her backup plan. You Colt? He asked when I opened the door. Yeah, you're Rylan, right? Can I come in? We need to talk about your girl Brielle. I let him in, completely confused about what was happening. Look, man, I know this is weird, but I felt like you needed to know something. That chick has been trying to run a game on you for weeks. What do you mean? She approached me about a month ago at Whiskey River. Started talking about this plan she had. Said she was engaged to this nice guy with a house, but she needed an exit strategy. Wanted me to help her make you look like a controlling boyfriend. I just stared at him. She offered you money? Half the value of your house if I helped her build a case that you were possessive and jealous. She wanted me to be a witness to you being controlling, maybe even help make up some stories about you threatening her or whatever. And you said no? Hell yeah, I said no. Look, I may not be a saint, but I don't mess with people's lives like that. That's some twisted shit right there. When I heard through people at the bar that she actually went through with messing with you, I felt bad enough to make sure your buddy Jace knew what I'd seen. You're the one who told him about the mall. Yeah, I saw her and her sister shopping and laughing about their backup plan. Made me sick to my stomach. No man deserves to be played like that. I couldn't believe it. Even this guy who barely knew me had more integrity than my fiancé. So there you have it, Reddit. The woman I thought I was going to spend my life with had been running a con from day one, complete with backup plans and exit strategies. She saw my kindness as weakness, and my love as stupidity. The confrontation ended with her finally dropping all pretenses. You're going to regret this, Colt, she said as she gathered up her things. Good luck finding someone else who'll put up with how boring and naive you are. You'll come crawling back when you realize what you lost. But I already knew exactly what I'd lost. Absolutely nothing of value. The aftermath has been surreal. The house feels different now, like I'm reclaiming it. I've been going through everything, removing traces of her presence. Found more evidence of her deception too. Receipts hidden in drawers. Printed emails about our finances that she had no business having. Even a notebook where she'd tracked my work schedule and social activities. It's like finding evidence of a stalker who lived in your house. The house is still mine. My savings are still intact. The deposits I lost on the wedding sting, about $8,500 total, but it's nothing compared to what I would have lost if I'd actually married her. In this state, if we'd been married for 2 years, she could have claimed half the house's value in a divorce. That's $90,000 I almost lost, not counting whatever else she would have taken me for. I've told a few close friends what really happened. Most are shocked, but a couple admitted they'd always felt something was off about Brielle. My buddy Mark said, "She always asked a lot of questions about your finances for someone who was supposedly in love." My co-worker Luis mentioned that she'd once asked him detailed questions about my job benefits and whether I had any other inheritance coming. Red flags I was too blind to see. Brielle is out of my life completely. She moved back in with Mara, and according to mutual friends, she's already started dating someone new. Some guy named Derek who just bought a condo downtown and drives a BMW. She works fast, I'll give her that. I almost feel sorry for him, but I also wonder if I should warn him. Probably not my place, and honestly, I doubt he'd believe me anyway. Guys never think they'll be the one who gets played. The hardest part has been dealing with my family. My mom was devastated when I told her the truth. I knew something was wrong when she asked me about your father's life insurance policy at Christmas, she said. But I thought she was just planning for your future. Even my grandmother's jewelry that I'd given Brielle, she tried to keep it. Had to threaten legal action to get it back. As for me, I'm doing okay. Better than okay, actually. The first few nights alone in the house were rough. 3 years of shared routines don't disappear overnight. But there's also a sense of relief that I can't ignore. No more walking on eggshells. No more subtle criticisms disguised as helpful suggestions. No more feeling like I had to justify every purchase or decision.